So a lot of guns, it depends on what I'm wearing. I switch between two different guns. So when you have a single stack gun, which a lot of people are running, your XDSs, your Shields, your 43s, all of those good guns, your round count is small. And even if I have to shoot 2, 3, 4 shots, now I only have 2, 3, 4, 5 shots left. So if it's nice and calm environment, I'm switching that mag out and plussing up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So outside of the gun, though, always carry other alternative weapons. You want a flashlight, and a flashlight can be used as a weapon in the right scenario, especially the design of someone that have the edges on them. But a high lumen light itself in dark condition is very shocking to a bad guy when that hits him in the eyes, because he's basically blinded for a short period of time. So a good flashlight, good knife. Dustin, Ron, you guys both brought this up. It's absolutely essential. You may not be able to get to your gun. So if you're already in close quarters contact with someone, drawing your firearm is rarely the best answer. So being able to deploy a knife, a tactical pen, pepper spray, something like that gives you the ability to either win that confrontation right there, or create enough distance that you can bring your firearm into the
separation.
Fight. So separation is huge when you're in a physical confrontation, because it gives you more choices. I prefer a fixed blade. However, most of the time I'm carrying a lock blade. I'm carrying a folder knife, because it's just the practicality of fixed blade and concealing it versus a lock folder. And folders, just nobody pays attention to them, whereas if I had a fixed blade, that's going to draw more attention, depending upon how I have it concealed and how I'm wearing it. So those are some of the common weapon items. Another thing you need when you buy a gun is you got to have the maintenance kit to go with it. You got to be able to clean it and keep it in good working order.
Absolutely.
You should have certain spare parts that are common things, unless you have a Glock. Nothing breaks on a Glock, so don't worry about it. But, no, I'm just kidding. Which reminds me, I think next week we're going to talk about the torture test on that Glock 17. So
how many rounds?
385,000, I believe. So it's getting up there. So we'll talk about that more next week. But also, you need a trauma kit. You need not necessarily on your person, but with your gear in your vehicle, because rarely are you going to get in a physical confrontation and come out of it untouched.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going. If you're in a knife fight, you're going to get cut. If you're in a physical fist fight, you're going to get bruised. You're going to get scraped. You want the ability to be able to deal with those things, especially the life-threatening things such as a severe cut or a gunshot wound, and be able to, hey, I won the fight, but I'm going to die before the ambulance gets here. So that's not a good place to be.
Right.
I've used my vehicle 3 different times in not gun-related issues, being first on scene on 2 car wrecks. Luckily, my wife, who's a nurse, took command of that situation, so I was secondary. And then a lady who had a seizure and smoked her head on a curb. So that's something that I had my little go bag, my little medical kit in my car that I usually have either in my car or on me on my range bag that I could use in those situations. So from boo-boo Band-Aids to tourniquets, you're going to need some stuff on you. Figure out if you're at an outdoor range, or you got friends or family members, or you have land, how far away are you from safety? How far away is safety from you?
Absolutely. So there's a lot more to carrying a gun and being responsible than just having a gun. So
last thing that I would say is practice.
Yeah, you got to practice. You got to train.
That's got to be part of your everyday thing.
So more questions on this, just call us at 636-220-1300. Email us at downrange@therangeSTL.com, or come by the range, 14803 Manchester Road. Frank's giving us a sign. We've run out of time yet again, so we're going to save Heroes and Rants. Yeah, it's a good conversation, lots of good information. So be sure to listen next week, because we're going to talk about the Glock torture test on next week's episode. You've been listening to Downrange with John and Ron on 97.1 FM.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is Downrange. Are you ready?
KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by thehomeloanexpert.com.
FM News Talk 97.1.
right, I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Arizona Senator John McCain had a 5-centimeter blood clot removed from above his left eye at Mayo Clinic Hospital in Phoenix. That surgery was yesterday. A statement from the senator's office just released. The senator said to be resting at home in good spirits. Tissue pathology reports due in the next several days, and further treatment will depend on those results. Senator McCain's nickname, Maverick, and Vice President Mike Pence spoke to the Maverick PAC conference in the nation's capital.
President Donald Trump turned the blue wall red, and Maverick PAC made a difference in every state.
Senator Ted Cruz, one of the founders of Maverick PAC. It started in Texas, then went nationwide. Those protesters in Chicago, one of several cities where demonstrators are voicing opposition to the Trump administration. People supporting the president also showed up, but in much smaller numbers. It was a towering inferno, but unlike the movie, this deadly high-rise fire in Honolulu was all too real.
If the building in Honolulu had sprinklers, firefighters say the damage and loss of life would not have been nearly as extensive. The fire broke out around 2:15 in the afternoon, and almost immediately residents and witnesses could see fierce flames shooting out of the apartments on the 26th floor of the Marco Polo residential community.
That fire went so fast, you know, it was just amazing. And the smoke just everywhere.
2 women and 1 man were killed in the fire. 12 others were injured.
Fox's Will Carr, 5 of those injured listed in serious condition. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
Plenty of sunshine, nice from start to finish. 89 for the high this afternoon. Low humidity tonight, gorgeous. What a wonderful evening on the way. Clear skies and nice 65 for the overnight low. Sunday, partly sunny skies, few more clouds around. Looking for a high near 90. The heat and humidity building back next week. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
Power, performance, style, and a commitment to be the best. Jaguar St. Louis knows what it takes to be a winning team. Come out today and test drive the all-new F-Pace, recently named the 2017 World Car of the Year at the New York International Auto Show. Plus, all new Jaguar models are backed by Jaguar Elite Care, our best-in-class coverage. Jaguar St. Louis, a Plaza Motor Company, on Olive Boulevard and JaguarSt.Louis.com. Class is cars sold by luxury automobile brands, and claim is based on total package of warranty, maintenance, and other coverage programs.
The news of the day.
I strongly urge the committee and the Senate to confirm Chris Wray as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Every day.
Donald Trump Jr. In retrospect, I probably would have done things a little differently.
Moving into perjury, false statements, potentially treason.
St. Louis's FM News Talk.
We will be in session the first 2 weeks of August.
FM News Talk 97.1.
I wouldn't want to go home and face the voters either.
We should be here doing people's business.
Younger, smarter, better.
FM News Talk 97.1 presents Psych with Mike, with Michael Mahon. Brought to you by Royal Gate Dodge. Royal Gate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, with the largest inventory of new Dodge vehicles in St. Louis. Visit them in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois. Online at royalgatedirect.com. This is Psych with Mike. Follow Mike on Twitter at Psych With Mike. This is Psych With Mike. If you stream FM NewsTalk 97.1 on your phone, you know data and battery are precious. Use Next Radio to save both. It's an FM tuner in your phone. Learn more at 971talk.com/nextradio.
Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram buyers. Royal Gate Ellisville is out to crush the competition because we are the driving force. With summer clearance event deals on new cars nobody else will even or ever offer. Unheard of trade-in money, regardless of your trade's condition or how much you still owe on it. And credit approval that makes all the deals work because it's guaranteed. Now's the time to buy. Shop RoyalGateCars.com and see for yourself why we're #1 for all the right reasons. Jeep and Ram, our inventory, expertise, price, and satisfaction stand alone. Chrysler and Dodge, we can't be beat. You'll always get the best every day, every time. Come shop Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Manchester Road in Ellisville, or online at RoyalGateCars.com and experience why we're #1 for all the right reasons.
Royal Gate, the driving force.
With approved credit, negative equity added to new contract, minimum reported income of $1,500 per month.
Visit Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram online at RoyalGateCars.com or stop into one of their 2 locations in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych With Mike and get the Royal package at no charge.
So earlier today, I went down to Dave's appearance. Dave actually was at Southern Armory today. And so if you know where Southern Armory is, then you also know where Studio New is, because they are actually in the same plaza. But I went down, and Sahar, who is one of the owners of Studio New, came down and was talking to Dave and said, "Oh, hey, I just want to introduce myself, and I'm from Studio New, and we're just down the street here, down the plaza here. And have you ever floated before?" And Dave has floated a couple of times, so they were talking about that. And Dave, surprisingly enough, God love him, knew that she was one of my advertisers, and so said, "Oh, and you're with Mike." And she hadn't seen me yet, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, exactly, absolutely." And so Dave got set up with a float. She wanted to set him up with a free float, and he's floated a couple of times, and we were talking about that. But I think that in the end, what ended up happening was that Dave ended up choosing the Psych With Mike package, which is 1 hour float and a 1 hour massage for $99, because we got to talking about it. And Dave said, "Oh, what else do you do?" And she was telling them, we do lots of things. We cut hair, we have the float, we do massage, we do skin treatments, so facials, peels, and waxing. We do nails, we do hair, do all kinds of things. And so the more that they started talking about it, the more that Dave was like, "Well, I think I'd like to do the float and the massage, because that's not something that's offered anywhere else." So you go and you float and you get super relaxed, and then you get a massage and you get more relaxed, or vice versa, however you would prefer to do it. And you get actually the best of both worlds. But the amount of relaxation is profound when you get to that kind of level of relaxation after the float and then the massage. So go to Studio New, call them. Their number is area code 314-858-9595. They're actually at 9901 Watson Road, Suite 101, which is in Crestwood. And their website is studioanew.com. You can go on there. You can make appointments to do floats. You can get other treatments done. But the great thing is that they offer lots of different kinds of things all in one package. So it's a one-stop shop. The prices are extremely reasonable. If you go there right now, they have 2 specials for Psych With Mike. They have a 1 hour float and a 1 hour massage for $99, and they have a 1.5 hour float for $50. You just go in, you let them know that you heard about it on Psych With Mike, and you can get either one of those packages. So go there, check them out, let them know that I sent you. You're going to not be disappointed. They have everything that you need. So let them know, Psych With Mike, studioanew.com. Check them out.
Your seriously ill patients return again and again for high acuity care in the ED or hospital setting when symptoms aren't managed correctly. Vitas Healthcare offers palliative alternatives to aggressive treatment as we transition those hospice-eligible patients to comfort care at home. From inpatient hospice beds to continuous care at home, Vitas has the resources to care for your most complex patients. Refer today. Don't delay. Call 888-VITAS-80 or go to Vitas.com. That's VITAS.com.
Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram buyers. Royal Gate Columbia is out to crush the competition because we are the driving force. With summer clearance event deals on new cars nobody else will even or ever offer. Unheard of trade-in money, regardless of your trade's condition or how much you still owe on it. And credit approval that makes all the deals work because it's guaranteed. Now's the time to buy. Shop RoyalGateCars.com and see for yourself why we're #1 for all the right reasons. Jeep and Ram. Our inventory, expertise, price, and satisfaction stand alone. Chrysler and Dodge, we can't be beat. You'll always get the best every day, every time. Come shop Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram. 500 Admiral Wino Boulevard in Columbia. Or online at RoyalGateCars.com and experience why we're #1 for all the right reasons.
Royal Gate, the driving force.
With approved credit, negative equity added to new contract minimum reported income of $1,500 per month.
Visit Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram online at RoyalGateCars.com or stop into one of their 2 locations in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych with Mike and get the Royal package at no charge.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Trending on FM News Talk 97.1.
Most people would have taken that meeting. Lawyer passport was approved by Attorney General Lynch.
Stay connected.
Promised to repeal Obamacare. Finish the health care bill.
Lipstick on a pig. It's cosmetic changes.
Obamacare is total meltdown.
Keeps most of the Obamacare regulations. I'm just not for that.
This is
Mr. DiNardo confessed in the murders of the 4 young men.
FM News Talk 97.1.
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. This is Psych with Mike.
Welcome back into the Royal Gate Dodge Studios. This is Psych with Mike. Again, if you have any questions or comments or any kind of things that you would like to share concerning self-esteem, give us a call. The number 969-9797 or 866-455-9797. So before the break, I was telling a story about I had moved over to from Granite City to St. Louis, was riding the bus, was incredibly freaked out, had never had any kind of experience like this before, and was every day I would just get on this bus and I would just bawl like nobody's business. And no one ever gave me any kind of trouble. No one ever bullied me. No one actually ever even said a word to me. I would just go to school, and the bus driver would pull into the school and drop us off, and that was the thing. I'd be delivered to this school. Now when I was in Granite City, the classroom that I was in, I was in the same class. There were a handful of classrooms, like 5 classrooms in this school building, and I was literally in one of 5 or 6, half a dozen classrooms for really pretty much all of the time that I had gone to school prior to moving over to St. Louis. So then now I'm in this school, and I got to change classes, and I've got a locker, and I got to remember a locker combination, and it was just incredibly, incredibly overwhelming. And the reason why I'm telling that story is because for me, the idea of where self-esteem comes from is very much grounded and rooted in my conceptualization of human psychology, and that is psychodynamic in nature, which means that I subscribe to a lot of what Sigmund Freud had originally proposed and others after him expanded on, and that is the idea that there are 3 divisions of our psyche. So there's the id, the ego, and the superego. And the id is the part of us that is where our instincts, our drives live. And so the id is very much like being a baby. So babies don't really care if they cry in the middle of the night who they wake up. So they don't really worry about that. And the reason is because babies are what are called egocentric. So egocentric doesn't mean that they're conceited. A lot of people confuse and use those words interchangeably. And from a psychological perspective, those aren't the same thing. So egocentrism is the inability for a person to understand that other people have different perceptions than they do. So that's egocentric. So you can be egocentric and not be conceited. Now, it would be harder to be conceited and not be egocentric, but you can be egocentric and not be conceited. You can just literally not have the ability to understand that people have perceptions that are different than yours and not be full of yourself. So a child is egocentric but not conceited. And so when you are a baby, you'll cry in the middle of the night. You won't care who you wake up. You'll only be concerned with getting your needs satisfied. That's what your id does for you. Then your ego is the place where you develop the ability to reality test and to be able to start to develop the foundational constructs for what becomes your identity. So we were talking about this idea of self-esteem yesterday on the DGS, and Mark had asked me, so where does self-esteem exist in that psychodynamic framework? And it exists as a function of the identity in the ego. So what that means is that as we get older, our identity begins to develop. It lives in that ego part of our psyche, and a subset of the things that that identity gives us is self-esteem. And self-esteem is the definition, is the global concept of self. So when you are feeling good about you, when you feel confident about yourself, when you have the ability to feel good about you no matter what anybody else thinks, that's self-esteem. And it's important that people have self-esteem because everybody's going to have esteem. So esteem is something that everybody has. You're always going to have some kind of concept of self. The question is, what kind of concept of self are you going to have? If you don't have self-esteem, then you're going to have what I call other person esteem. Now, other person esteem means that you have to have someone else in your reality that tells you what to think about you for you to be able to know how to feel about yourself. So when you are around people, if you have other person esteem and you're around people who tell you good things about yourself, you feel how?
Happy.
You feel good, right. So if you have other person esteem and you are around people who tell you bad things about yourself, how do you feel?
That creates low esteem?
Well, so you feel bad
Yeah.
because people are telling you bad things about yourself. If you have other person esteem and you are alone or no one is giving you feedback, how do you feel?
Lonely.
Exactly. So it's existential. You don't know how to feel. Therefore, for all intents and purposes, your esteem, your very identity ceases to exist.
Oh.
And so that is more threatening to people than it is to have somebody give you negative information. That's why for me on the bus, so my crying was an attempt, an unconscious attempt. I look back on it now. I see it very clearly. I didn't see it at the time. Was an unconscious attempt to elicit information from the environment. What I wanted was somebody to comfort me and tell me it would be okay. I didn't get that. And what I got was complete isolation. That actually made that situation tremendously worse for me because I wasn't getting any feedback from the environment. And I really, at that time, desperately needed that.
Wow, you could have grown to hate Led Zeppelin.
But I didn't.
No.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you hating Led Zeppelin.
No, I actually don't hate Led Zeppelin, and actually enjoy Led Zeppelin tremendously. Although I will say that unlike most people, obviously the pat answer, people say best Led Zeppelin song, people say Stairway to Heaven. Actually, Battle of Evermore is my favorite Led Zeppelin song. Yeah, so I actually do love Led Zeppelin, and that's actually a not very well known Led Zeppelin song, Battle of Evermore. So I'm actually kind of have a lot of Led Zeppelin appreciation because I got to go deep into the catalog for my favorite song. But so this self-esteem develops out of this sense of identity, and when we don't get information from the environment, and actually specifically from our family of origin, good quality information that we can rely on when we're growing up, then that makes it more difficult for us to be able to develop good, solid self-esteem. So we're going to run to our second break, and when we come back, we're going to pick this up on the other side. Give us a call, 969-9797, 866-455-9797. If you have any questions, comments about self-esteem, we'll be right back.
Follow Mike on Twitter at Psych With Mike. Follow Mike on Twitter at Psych With Mike.
You realize the sun doesn't go down. It's just an illusion caused by the world.
This is Psych with Mike.
Dependable weather.
Clouds take control today. Chance of a couple of spotty
with Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray.
Brought to you by Air Comfort Service with 0% financing and double utility rebates on new HVAC systems. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram buyers. Royal Gate Ellisville is out to crush the competition because we are the driving force. With summer clearance event deals on new cars nobody else will even or ever offer. Unheard of trade-in money, regardless of your trade's condition or how much you still owe on it. And credit approval that makes all the deals work because it's guaranteed. Now's the time to buy. Shop RoyalGateCars.com and see for yourself why we're #1 for all the right reasons. Jeep and Ram, our inventory, expertise, price, and satisfaction stand alone. Chrysler and Dodge, we can't be beat. You'll always get the best every day, every time. Come shop Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Manchester Road in Ellisville, or online at RoyalGateCars.com and experience why we're #1 for all the right reasons.
Royal Gate, the driving force.
With approved credit, negative equity added to new contract, minimum reported income of $1,500 per month.
Visit Royal Gate Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram online at RoyalGateCars.com or stop into one of their 2 locations in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych with Mike and get the Royal Package at no charge.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. Perhaps the worst part about serving as Speaker of the House comes on the first day of each Congress after you're elected Speaker. The Speaker swears in all lawmakers en masse on the floor, and then come the ceremonial swearings in. All 230 of them. 230 photo ops as House Speaker Paul Ryan or his predecessors, John Boehner and Nancy Pelosi, pose with lawmakers, their families, crying kids, and even this year, a dabbing teenager. Cal Marshall, the 17-year-old son of Republican Kansas Representative Roger Marshall. Oh, and the Speaker is supposed to keep smiling and glad-handing through the entire affair and know who each member is, including the brand new ones. But 230 photo ops with kids and lawmakers who have been on planes better bring along a copious supply of Purell. Some of the little kids melt down after having to wait too long. When Boehner was Speaker, he used to kneel down on the floor and quack like a duck to distract the crying kids. One wonders why Boehner didn't use the duck quacking move with some of his recalcitrant Republicans. If he had, Boehner still may be Speaker. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. 17 million kids in America struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are!
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out!
Check us out! Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Look how conniving Griffin is.
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
She's a nasty, hate-filled, liberal puke.
Mark Levin.
What, the slip and fall lawyer get a hold of you?
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
On FM News Talk
97.1.
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797. Or toll free 866-455-9797. Now, more Psych with Mike on FM NewsTalk 97.1.
Welcome back into the Royal Gate Dodge Studios. A little after 8:40. We're back with Psych with Mike. So before we went to that second break, I was talking about self-esteem, and I was talking about where it lived in the human psyche and its connection to our development of identity, and talking about how when you have other person esteem, or the difference between what is self-esteem and other person esteem. So you're going to have some kind of esteem. You're going to have some perception of self. Either that perception of self is going to come from internal, which is self-esteem, or it's going to come external, which is other person esteem. A lot of people in the world have other person esteem. And they come to talk to a therapist, and they'll come into my office. People will talk about, oh, you know, I don't really always feel good about myself. And a lot of times what will happen is that people will say, if you go see a therapist, well, let's work on your self-esteem. Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but if anybody who tells you that they can operate on your self-esteem directly is fibbing to you and isn't somebody who really understands what self-esteem is. So self-esteem is an innate part of your psyche that you control. It is similar to the identity. I can't change your identity without your permission. We can work cooperatively on some techniques that can help you to change your identity. Similarly, you have to change your sense of esteem. I can't do that. What I can do is I can operate on helping you to change your sense of confidence, or nowadays they call it efficacy. So where self-esteem is a global perception of self, confidence is a domain-specific perception of self. So it operates in a single domain of your life. So, for example, you may feel like you are a good soccer player or a good softball player, or that you're good at math or whatever, that you may have a singular skill that you are very good at and yet still have very low self-esteem. So you can have self-confidence.
Like an actor?
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
They're amazing actors, but they have such low self-esteem. That's when you hear about suicides and things from these people, and everybody wonders, well, they had everything. What's going on?
Right,
you
right.
know?
And when you see things like that, people who you think have everything and yet they are horribly lonely or horribly depressed, that's exactly right. They have very low self-esteem, even though, now, they may or may not feel like that they're good actors. So we don't know because, you know, we don't ask them. But exactly, so John Belushi or other people.
Robin Williams.
Robin
was
Williams,
a big one.
exactly. Who look like they have it all, but then end up, you know, taking their own lives. Clearly, those individuals did not have high levels of self-esteem. And actually, especially actors especially, are very susceptible to having this other person esteem. So they require information from the environment to be able to really feel good about themselves, which means that when they are away from the spotlight, they don't know how to feel, and for all intents and purposes, they cease to exist.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you come to a therapist, What I'm looking to do is to boost your sense of confidence in enough domains. And when I do that, when you do that, then your self-esteem is automatically going to increase, and there isn't anything that you or I could do to stop it. So let's say that, John Belushi had come to talk to me before he had, well, I guess he didn't commit suicide, but had overdosed. And I would say, okay, John, let's work on your sense of confidence. What do you see that you're good at? And, he might say, oh, I think I'm a pretty good comedian. Okay, that's a starting point. So what about being a comedian is something that you feel like you're good at? And then I would go from the point where you have identified something that you do feel good about and then start to expand that. So beyond being a good comedian, what else do you feel good about? Well, I don't know. Okay, so are you, for example, a good partner? Do you have good relationships? Well, no, I don't really. So then, okay, well, what then can you do to make those relationships better? So I was talking to a gal this week, and she was saying to me, well, I got this guy, and he really wants to be my boyfriend, but I don't want him to be my boyfriend because I'm not attracted to him. But then I got this other guy that I am attracted to, but I don't know. He's not quite exactly what I would consider a good, stable boyfriend material. And so, I know that she has children. So I said, well, would you trust this guy with your kids? And she's like, probably not. So, well, then he's not the right person for you. Now, what happens is that people choose to get into relationships because those individuals that they are getting into the relationship with match certain areas of insecurity that are left over from their development in their family of origin. That's called scripting. Trying to find a different solution to the same problem over and over again. So what I said to this gal is, look, you probably need to recognize that your attraction meter is miscalibrated, and that what you need to do is to actually give somebody a chance that on paper looks like they would be a good partner, even though, and especially because you aren't attracted to them. And she said, well, can I then become attracted to this person? I said, well, absolutely. I mean, if if this person ends up being the perfect partner for you, you are going to eventually be attracted to them. But for so many of us, our attraction meters are miscalibrated because what we actually are trying to do is to create unconsciously situations in our life that mimic unresolved issues from our family of origin, trying to gain or create or force some kind of alternative, better solution, but that's never going to happen. And so Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So this is good news for all the well-grounded nerds in the world.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, absolutely. No question. Yeah.
I mean, who have an attraction for someone who maybe would normally not be with them, but
well, and or people who are nerdy oftentimes actually know themselves very well. So if you are a nerd, your insecurity is not based on self-delusion, right? So many of our insecurities are based on self-delusion. Most nerds, their insecurities aren't based on self-delusion. Their insecurities are based on reality. They know that they're not particularly good in social situations and that people don't find them very attractive. So that is actually a very realistic perspective for them from their point of view. So in reality, they probably have decent levels of self-esteem, even though they don't always feel socially successful.
Right.
So that actually is very good news for people who are nerdy. But this idea of the difference between self-esteem and self-confidence is important, because if you go to a therapist and the therapist says, okay, we're going to work on your self-esteem and does not help you to find opportunities to be confident, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to develop quality self-esteem. So what I do is that I will give my clients tasks that I know that they cannot fail. and ask them to complete those tasks. And then when they come back, ask them how that felt. And then if they say to me, well, I didn't finish the task, what I know is it isn't because they were incapable. Then we can talk about why they chose not to do it. But eventually what happens is that they start to complete those tasks more and more often and begin to experience that success internally. And then we talk about what that feels like. And as they start to process that, their self-esteem can't help but rise. So when we get to this place where we're working on this, a lot of times what people will come to me and what they will say, what a lot of people probably have heard in the audience, what a lot of people probably think, is that people in our society are afraid of failure. So you hear this all the time. Well, you know, this person's afraid to fail. That's a bunch of bunk, okay? People are very, very comfortable with failure. So think about this. It's like, you know, success is like climbing a ladder. That's why we call it the ladder of success. And most people are afraid to climb too high up that ladder because if you fall off the ladder, the higher you climb, the further you have to fall, the scarier it is. So perceptually, most people are okay with failure. And as a matter of fact, they would rather fail on a lower rung of that success ladder than on a higher rung. Most people in our world are not afraid of failure. They're afraid of success, and very specifically of the responsibility that is associated with success. So a lot of people are very comfortable. We had talked about this earlier, taking control of the things that they don't have control over. So most people would be more comfortable with trying to control the behavior of their partner rather than changing their own behavior for the better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I see this all the time.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And so what happens is that we're very focused on the things that we can't control, while at the same time giving up control of the only thing that we have which is our own behavior. Because if you have ever said or ever thought it made sense, my partner made me angry, if you think that, or if you say that, you know that you have given up control of your behavior. Because your partner doesn't have control to be able to make you angry, right? So anger emotions aren't viruses that you inhale. Nobody sticks a gun in the small of your back and says, get mad, get mad, get mad. That emotion is generated from inside of the person. Now, there may be environmental cues that you are responding to, but you have the ability to control whether or not you respond to those environmental cues. And you are certainly responsible for the behavior that you engage in if you respond to those cues and get mad. And that's what people don't, right? To be successful, I have to accept responsibility for my behavior. But if I'm saying, well, my partner makes me angry, I'm giving up responsibility of my behavior. That isn't fear of failure. That is fear of success. So what I try and do is help people to be able to reframe what they are thinking, what they are saying, and how they are behaving by recognizing what they have control of and what they don't. So we were talking about this earlier when you were talking about going on vacation and this anxiety that you were experiencing, getting ready, prepping for vacation, and this whole idea of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, getting everything done, yeah.
Yeah, but anybody who says, my partner makes me angry, is creating their own cognitive dissonance. Because internally, innately, there is a part of you that knows that you are responsible for your own emotional regulation and whether or not you respond adversely to environmental cues. You're responsible for that. So when you then say, well, my partner made me angry, that creates a conflict that creates anxiety.
Yeah, I never felt like they were making me angry, though. I mean, I just felt like I just want to get stuff done. So when the time hits,
right,
we're good.
Yeah, I'm not saying in this case that happens.
She made me mad.
But a lot of people do. I mean, when the cops show up,
I hear it all the time. I had real quickly a family member. We had a total disagreement, like total opposite ends of the world when it comes to politics. And I was being calm, just asking questions. Well, she was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And I said, stop. we're discussing. She started calling me names,
Wow.
and I would not get drawn into it.
Yeah.
So I finally just stopped talking.
Right. Now, that's actually a great example. So what happens is that people will engage you in an aggressive interaction, trying to get you to take the bait and become aggressive yourself, because if they can get you to do that, then they can say, well, see, you're not a good person. You're not a good person to have this conversation with. Therefore, now my behavior is justified because you're not good. Teenagers are actually the worst at this. They will,
really good at it.
Yeah. And they do it deliberately, even if it's unconsciously, because they're looking for a reason to be able to conceive and perceive of their parents as bad parents to justify their own behavior. So if they can engage you in the argument long enough to get you to respond badly, then they can say, well, you're not a good parent, so I don't have to listen to you, and then justify their own behavior.
Yeah, my 13-year-old says that, and I laugh.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we should laugh because they're obviously not, that actually is not a valid argument. So I hope that somebody found this beneficial and useful. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Psych With Mike on Twitter. You can follow me at Psych With Mike on Facebook. Like the page on Facebook. You can get a hold of me or podcast the show, michaelmahon.org. Go there and check out the site. And you can get podcasts for the show. Let other people know that you like the show and that they can get it there. If you like the show, then please remember to support the sponsors. That's how the show exists. That's what makes the show continue to operate and be around. So if there's something that you like about the show and there's a service that you can use a sponsor for, please do that. If it's Saturday night and it's 8 o'clock, it's Psych with Mike.